Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of The Rundown. My name is Dante Ward and I am your franchise consultant. Today's video, I will be sharing with you all some of the cons I believe people have when they decide to invest in a franchise. In the previous video, I actually spoke with you all on some of the pros, but today's video, we're going to be speaking on some of the cons of investing in a franchise. But before we get into that, I would like to introduce our special guest of today's show, which is a very important person in my life, my father, Otis Ward. He will be sharing with us some tips to help us budget during the holidays. Especially 2020, we all know, living through this pandemic, everything is not really ordinary, of course, right? So, but regardless, not just 2020, 2021, whatever 2022, it's very important to know how to budget and also budget during the holiday times. A lot of times people, they tend to, do what they call impulsive shopping and go broke and don't pay rent, skip car notes, and that's when everything tends to go, crazy, right? So we just want to help you with some tips to help you budget during this time. And also, not just that, but, we talk a lot about becoming franchise owners. And so if you want to become a franchise owner, knowing how to budget your money is very, very, very important. So hopefully you guys will take heed to some of the tips that's given. Without any further ado, I would like to get into this video on some of the cons I believe franchisees have when they decide to invest in a franchise. You're not completely independent. You have to follow the procedures and rules that franchisors have for you. So there's no such thing of going against the grain, right? You have to follow that model. So that can be kind of frustrating, especially if you feel like a rule or a procedure the franchise have for you, you might not agree with it, but you know what? You have to go along with whatever they tell you to do. So versus when you have your own private business, if you want, you can change the procedure in the middle of the day, right? But you can't do that with a franchise. You have to abide by whatever rules and procedures and operational guidelines they have for you. The lack of control, and we kind of spoke on that when we talked about not being 100% independent. So there will be rules, there will be regulations, and like I said, you can't really go outside the grain. Whatever they have set for you, you have to follow that. So there's not really a lot of control when it comes with the franchisees. The franchise fees and ongoing royalties, paying extra for whatever, who want to do it, right? But yes, when you invest in a franchise, you will have a franchise fee in the beginning and you will have ongoing royalties. So yes, the franchise will take a piece of your earnings, okay? But, I know in the last video we talked about the pros, and that was the support, the back office support. So most times with the royalties you have to pay to the franchise, it usually helps support that back office support. And I know a lot of franchises also have like marketing fees as well to help promote your business, and the advertisement that the franchisors use to help promote your business. Reliant upon the franchisor's success. So, I mean, if you have a franchisor that's not really good, they're not on their stuff, that can most definitely affect your business and your overall profitability. And you don't have a franchisor that's not really on their stuff right? So, but it can be a good thing as well, because you might have a franchise that's really on top of their stuff. They have the best support, and they really have their franchisees' best interests at heart. So it could be a pro and a con. It's most definitely a con if the franchisor is not really being a good franchisor. So yeah, that is a con if you don't have a good franchisor and that support needed. That can really help. I mean, that can really hinder your profits and the success of your business. You can be negatively impacted by another franchisee. You might be on the West Coast and the store on the East Coast. A franchisee could have had an accident. It could have been an accident, or it could have been something that the franchisee knew about. That can directly impact your business. So, and that's something that you don't have any control over. I remember an incident when a lady found a finger. Well, we found out it was a hoax, but she stated that she found a piece of finger in her chili at Wendy's. And I mean, their business, it like slumped after the news of hearing about this. So it could be an accident. It could be something that a franchisee done, but regardless of the fact, it can impact your business. Yeah, I hope that would never happen to anybody. Your business is impacted from something that happened at another store. But yeah, that's the cons of investing, some of the cons in investing in a franchise. I hope this was very useful information for you. If so, please make sure you like. Also, don't forget, please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the next segment with my father, budgeting for the holidays. Thank you. Peace.
Yes, so my name is Otis Ward, and my organization is called Ward and Associates. And what we've done over the past 20 years is we've offered services, financial literacy services, classes, seminars throughout California, especially Northern California. Most of my experience come from several years in banking, as well as I've ran a couple of nonprofit organizations, as well as organizations for the county offering financial literacy. So my main focus is to offer services that's going to help enhance our community. Having a budget is a plan. A budget is a plan. A budget helps you reach goals that you may want to reach. But there's some other key tools that go along with budgeting, and that goes along with what I call the ABCs of financial management. and that's your attitude, how you think, your behavior, how you act, and also your character, and that's how you are. Because when it comes down to budgeting, you have to be disciplined, knowing, understanding how your spending habits work. So once you get your budget in line, we break the budget down in several key components. And basically, you're looking at your wants versus your needs. And what the problem is with most people when it comes down to creating a budget is that their budget, with their budget, they don't stick with the goals that they're trying to accomplish. And many times the key to a budget is making sure that your output is not more than what you bring in. So basically, with a budget, you're just going to itemize all your expenses, everything, whether it's paying your rent, your mortgage, your food, all your basic essentials are going to be placed in that budget, and that should probably take up about I say 30 to 35% of your expenses, or maybe 10% of your income for savings. You may want to have your rainy day fund would be 10%, and then you always want to pay yourself. And I remember when I came up, they used to have my grandfather. He had what was called they had a Christmas fund at his job, and every month they would pay into that Christmas plan, that Christmas budget, and at the end of the year, that was what they spent to buy the Christmas gifts. Today, people don't do that. We do what's called impulsive buying, and so we'll get a little bit more into that. But a budget is nothing more than a roadmap that's going to help you know where your money's going. When it comes down to creating a budget, impulsive buying is one of the downfalls. One thing we used to teach when we taught financial literacy was never go shopping at the grocery stores when you're hungry. Because if you go when you're hungry, you're going to find yourself spending money on stuff you don't even want. That's why when you get by the cash register, you see they have all the little candies and little type of donuts and things that normally don't sell. They have it by the cash register to get your eye. That's just straight marketing. So we live in a consuming society. That's why they call it consumerism. When you budget for the holidays, what you want to make sure is that you do create a budget. And like I said, a budget is nothing more than itemizing the things that you have to pay out. And then also, if you want to just say, okay, we're going to spend about $300 for Thanksgiving, you want to make sure that you don't do what we call impulsive buying. Already plan ahead. Whether you put $20, whether you put $50 a month away, you can have a Thanksgiving budget that every month I'm going to put $10, I'm going to put $20, $50, whatever your budget allow into that Thanksgiving budget or that Thanksgiving savings, so that once Thanksgiving come, now you don't have to reach in the pocket at the last minute like many people do. You know, they miss paying their PG&E. This is the worst time for landlords and even mortgage companies, because people want to go out, they want to spend, they want to buy gifts, and then they find themselves robbing Peter to pay Paul, as we say. So they don't pay their lights, they don't pay the water bill, and because they want to have this great Thanksgiving dinner, or they want to make sure that they buy everyone the gifts that they need. So the main thing for the holiday season is to pre-plan ahead of time. And for those that don't pre-plan ahead of time, then you're going to have to just really pick up on the speed. You're still going to have to plan. So if I have 5 children and I plan on spending $300 on 5 children, I'm going to divide 5 by 300, or however way that I'm going to plan, or how I'm going to dispense the gifts to the children, and that's what I'm going to stick with. But one thing you most definitely want to stay away from is impulsive buying. And now, especially in the climate that we're in today, most people, we're overwhelmed with all these different type of advertisements. When you go onto social media, whether you go to your emails, you have all these different pop-ups. And the reason why they do that is because 70% of the U.S. Income or makeup based on domestic products come actually from consumers. And so they're going to continue to overwhelm us with as much advertising as possible. And since we're in the climate that we're in right now during the pandemic, I mean, we don't even have to go out anymore. You don't have to go out and shop. It's right at the tip of your finger. You can shop right on your phone. And if you're feeling bad, if you're not feeling good about yourself, or you can just be depressed because you can't go out to your favorite restaurant or your favorite hangout, and then you find yourself purchasing items, you're consuming things, try to make yourself feel better. And that's why when we talk about impulsive buying, it's more of an emotional type of what we call shopper's therapy. Shopper's therapy is not a great thing. If I need to feel good, if I have to go out and shop to feel good about myself, I'm going to feel worse afterwards once I spent money that I shouldn't have spent. It's just like someone going out and drinking too much. And you drink too much, now you got a hangover, you're feeling terrible about yourself. So the whole plan about in this current environment, this environment we're in now with the pandemic is a lot different than any other holiday season that we lived in, because everyone's emotions are really high. But you have to always have a plan before you start consuming, before you start buying. That's another thing that you want to make sure. If you're looking for deals, make sure that you find, companies that's offering free shipping, and they're not going to, they're not going to eat you up on the back end. On the front end, you seem like you're getting a deal, but now, you're paying this extra shipping, or even sometimes use credit cards is a good thing. When you get credit cards that maybe give you back 5% on certain type of shopping deals and purchases, then you can use that credit card, but then go back and pay your cash. So now you're getting more for your money, because what's happening is that that credit card is going to give you a 5% discount for using that credit card, but you don't want to use the credit card and then turn around and use your money as well. You want to make sure that when you're looking for deals that you are very strategic in how you make that happen. So when it comes down to a lot of people right now in the society that we live in, we're in a society where we feel like everything has to be monetary. But the gift of love, the gift of charity, doesn't always have to be spending money. Sometimes you can, in arts and craft, you can make something for someone. You can maybe volunteer and say, hey, you know what? I want to show you my gratitude, how much I appreciate you. This is going to be a gift. I'm gonna come over and cut your yard. I'm gonna come over and help you clean up today. Or you want to run errands? I'm gonna be the driver for you today. So there's many ways that we can be creative, and you don't have to go out and spend a whole lot of money to, because this is the we call the season of giving. But because we do live in America, and America is about the buying and selling of commodities, so of course you're not going to see commercials talking about, hey, show a gift of love by just coming and maybe cooking someone a nice meal, or bringing somebody a cake or whatever have you. They're going to show you out in the malls. They're going to show you online purchasing things, because that's just the way that this country is designed. A gift from a heart, or someone sharing something like that with me, whether it may be just coming over and sharing some love. Like I said, maybe just saying, I'm going to take you out, and all of today you don't have to do any driving. All your errands is going to be on me. I appreciate that more than someone just dropping off a gift and I may not see them for another year. Once again, giving and gift giving can be an all year around process. My suggestion is to work within your means. And so if you haven't already created a budget, I would suggest that you sit down and look at what your monthly bills are for the month or the next couple of months. One of the hardest problems that we find, especially people that live in California, is the cost of living, and then also how much we pay for housing. And so we normally try to keep your bills 35% and below. So what you do is you take your income and you divide it by 35%. But many individuals in the Bay Area, your bills may be 50%. So now if your bills are 50% of your income, you only have another 50% to try to save, to try to pay yourself back. And so just make sure that you know where your money's at, and don't rob Peter to pay Paul, because if you can't pay it this month, it's going to be even harder to pay the following month. And before you know it, it's going to pile up on you. And that's when maybe we'll have a session on credit. We also do credit counseling, and that's where we find individuals getting overwhelmed where they can't pay their bills. I have a Facebook page you can go to. It's called Ward and Associates. You can also, if you have questions, you can contact me through my email, which is otiswrd@gmail. You can also email me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. We also go out to community-based organizations, and we help individuals set up financial literacy programs. Financial literacy programs are very important. When I worked for Operation Hope, we had what was called Banking on the Future, where we went into high schools and middle schools and elementary schools, and we taught individuals, children, how to do basic finance. So that's very important. We want to get that back going in our communities. So any church organizations or community-based organizations, feel free to get in contact with me. Thank you for your time.